Hello, everybody, and let's start right in because this workshop here, this video, I promise, no hype, no mindset fluff, just what works. So this is if my teen had no confidence, here's exactly what I would do. All right, you ready? All right, I'm ready. All right, if I found out tomorrow my teen couldn't speak up, I wouldn't panic. I wouldn't lecture my teen. I wouldn't just say to my teen, just be confident. Like that ever works. You know, if I'd follow a very specific plan, because I've seen what actually works. We've got capable teens, we've got a fixable problem. That's the mindset we need to take for this. Now, let me give you the roadmap. Here's the exact plan I would follow. First of all, we're going to start by reframing this problem because it may not be what you think it is. Second, I'm going to avoid these common mistakes that I see well-intentioned parents making all the time. Then I'm going to train the right skills in the right order. And finally, I'm going to build real confidence, but it has to be on purpose. It has to come with meaning behind it and focus put on it, just in the right ways. All right, so let's start reframing this thing. What confidence is and isn't. So most parents, in complete loving manner, misunderstand what no confidence actually means. You know, they think confidence may be personality. Here, let me get myself a little bit more out of the way here, just so I'm not clipping any of the words. Okay, confidence is not the same as your personality. Confidence is not loud. That's not what confidence is. Confidence is not at all fearless. I can't tell you how many things I had to do afraid in my career. Quite a bit, actually. So here's what confidence actually is. It's your behavior under mild pressure. What are you going to do under mild pressure? That's what confidence really is. Now, here's the good news. Your teen doesn't lack confidence, okay? They just lack reps. Here's what I would not do before we dig into this 3 steps I would take. If it were my teen, I would not force discomfort to toughen them up. Guys, if they're not ready for it, they're not going to be ready for it. You can't teach a kid basic addition and subtraction and then expect him to do algebra. That's not going to make him better at math. And throwing your kid into a tough spot is not going to make them better. Teaching them confidence and how to adapt first may. So we'll see. Overcoaching every interaction. Oh gosh, talk less. I have to tell myself this all the time. You know the problem, you see the problem. Sometimes you think you have the solution, but talking at someone is not an effective way to fix a problem. What's way more effective if they can come up with the solution themselves. More to come on that. And I wouldn't send them to these generic confidence classes. Of course, my confidence classes aren't generic. No, they are. There is a big separator between what I teach in confidence and these generic confidence classes. You know, the problem with a lot of confidence classes, it's okay, let's talk about why you are where you're at. Oh, what happened in your childhood? What diagnoses do you have? So what's that going to do to get you better? It's a set of behaviors that you need to follow to make it one step better. And you might also hear, like, let's picture in our minds the perfect time to be confident. I mean, if that works for you, great. But what works for me is, what exactly do I need to do? Where do I start? Let me get some practice reps. Because while you're all up in your head and worrying about what your real problems are, I'm already taking all those reps and I put that time to work for me. Practical work rather than just theoretical mumbo jumbo. Again, hey, if that works for you, so be it. It just doesn't work for me. And that's a big difference, okay? And then, like I said, I kind of stole my own next point here. Start with affirmations or mindset. Okay, maybe there's value in that for you. Okay, You're good. You're good. Now, they don't fail because necessarily parents are wrong. They fail because they're misled. You know, we have good intentions, but we've got kind of the wrong target. So, who these teens really are? Your teens, the teens you know. Most struggling teens are observant. They see confident people. They are polite. They are polite. They are thoughtful. And they're waiting for the right moment, which is the problem. The first problem, if they're observant and they just look at the other person and say, oh, they're a natural, I'll never be that. Okay, that's not helpful either. So the other thing that's really unhelpful is waiting for the right moment. And there's a big problem with doing that, you guys. The problem with waiting is that social groups do not reward waiting. They reward initiative. Okay? It's just a fact of life. No one rewards you sitting around waiting for the right moment to come because confidence isn't boldness. Confidence is entry timing. So we've got to stop that. Hey, let's wait for the perfect moment. And we've just got to enter when we know up here that this is the right moment. Doesn't matter if we feel it here. When we know up here, that's what we need to do. So these teens, they're not unsure of who they are. They're unsure of when and how to enter. And we can fix that. We can definitely, that's a fixable problem. So step one, what I would do, you have to teach this before you can teach any other specifics. They've got to have social presence. If they're not showing people, I'm available to talk, who wants to talk to someone who's looking at their phone, who has a mad look on their face? I mean, who's kind of shriveled up into the corner, who's kind of shoulders down and head down, you know? I mean, that doesn't look like somebody you want to talk to. That looks like you would have fun talking to them. And the great thing about social presence is you can just do it. You don't have to feel it. Look, these things are all, you can just do this stuff, okay? So presence is eye contact. And to make eye contact the right way, you got to have your head up, okay? Head up. Can't be looking at the phone, all right? Hey, that's a big superpower right now in our world. Kids are not present. I'm not saying your kids aren't, but kids in general just aren't present. They're on their phones. They're getting distracted. They have 80 things going on at once. If you can lock in with someone, man, that's such a superpower. Anyway, your posture. Who looks more inviting to talk to? Someone slunched over, facing down, or someone head up, eyes on you? I would choose the second one. Maybe you wouldn't. And then I like to say, make a neutral, open face. This isn't just like, this is a slight smile, you know, like you have an upbeat looking face, you know, you're not like, I mean, who wants to talk to a person that looks like that? I mean, come on. So you have to have this sort of neutral, open face. And usually that errs on the side of a partial smile. And you've got to be facing the group. I mean, nobody wants to come. You're not making yourself available, or you're not making yourself available if your back's to everybody. I mean, seriously, what do you think? So you've got to be facing the group. Open body language to whoever the people are that you are wanting to talk to. You can't speak up if no one feels you're in the room. It's a feeling. You have to project this. And again, the great thing is I've given you 4 things over there. There are a few more that you can absolutely start doing right now. There's just no feeling needed. It's just do these things and you're going to see what's going to happen. So this is taking the same teen. We're not changing anybody. This is taking the same personality, and all we're changing is the presence. This short fix, and hey, you know what? You fix this, watch how others start responding when that gets fixed. So that's step 1. That has to be the foundational basic level. Let me tell you step 2. One small speaking skill at a time, okay? We don't need speeches. We don't need you to give them confidence talks, okay? We don't need them to contribute ideas. We don't need them to be louder. Yeah, you heard me right. We don't need them to contribute ideas at the beginning. No, not at all. And we don't need them to be louder. Commenting in a group is much better than contributing. So think about this. Your timing is much greater. Oh, phone calls all the time. Your timing is much greater than your content that you're going to say, right? These are the things that people notice. If you think about it, actually, let me stop that thought to say this. Let me tell you about the 5-second comment. Okay. This is a skill I teach. This is a skill that's helped hundreds of teens. And again, it's called the 5-second comment. A 5-second comment can change group dynamics 100%. You can put yourself as more of a focus and more of people see you as a contributor when you're just commenting. It's amazing how this works. So all we're looking to say is things like, oh yeah, that was awkward. Or that makes sense. Oh, I saw that too. Man, people love when you agree and affirm what they are saying. Their whole picture of how they view you can change in just that moment. And if you stay consistent with that, imagine what can happen after 4, 5, 6, 25 reps of doing just this, right? So confidence starts with low risk participation. Real quick, going back to the mindfulness stuff. Look, you can't mindful your way to feeling more confident and then you're ready to go. Nope. Confidence has to be earned. You're not going to get confident until you start doing the small little actions over and over again that build the confidence. You've got to earn it. Now, my last step, this is where a lot of people fail. They don't put the time and go through the structured reps. Okay? Look, just had the Super Bowl. And if you're watching this 6 months from now, the Super Bowl won't be on your mind, but think World Cup, think of the World Series, think of the NBA championships and any other sporting event that you want to think of. They don't go out there, these top performing athletes don't go out there on game day to try to get their reps in. No, game day is where the reps are revealed. And most of the time, these pros, they've outworked the people around them. Now, obviously, there has to be a degree of natural talent, but that natural talent is a little more common than people think. And just imagine if they practice once and you've practiced 4 or 5 times in the time they practice once. Wouldn't that make you better over time? Absolutely it would. And it will. So this is about structured reps. This, you guys, is the game changer. All right, here it is. Random exposure equals, you're going to overwhelm them. Okay? No plan, no feedback, no growth. So we make this big push. Okay, sweetie, we got this family reunion coming up in a month, and here's your chance, okay? So when we get to the family reunion, you want to talk and ask people questions, and then that's all that's said, and then the big day comes, and there's all this pressure, and the teen freezes. Like, what do you think is going to happen? It's happened more than once with me when I'll have someone sign up to meet with me one-on-one, and mom or dad will be overhearing in the background, and listening, and they'll message me and they'll say like, oh my gosh, I was mortified. They just kind of froze up when they first got on with you. And I'm like, hey, it's okay. I'm used to that. This gives me a good idea of where to start. And where to start is a little bit different with every single person. But it always relies on rep. Yeah, but I have this disability. Guess what? The world doesn't care. So, what are you going to do? You're going to work harder to get there? as people without the disability? Are you just going to point to that and give that thing power your whole life and be okay with it? That's the attitude you've got to take. In high school, I had a little bit of athleticism. I was coordinated, and we had an incredible football team my senior. This is not me reliving my glory days by any means. And there were some players that got drafted, or not drafted, but they got letters and went on to play for different colleges. And I, with athletic skill and talent, wasn't even in the same room as them. But here's what I would do. I would outwork them. I would be in the gym 5 times to their 1. I would be running drills. I kid you not. After practice was over and before practice, I would be going through plays. I would be watching game films. And so by outworking them, it got me to the point where I could kind of maintain that level, you know? Now, obviously, someone like me, there's kind of a limit when it comes to natural athletic ability. So, you know, college and the NFL weren't in my cards, and I'm okay with that. That's not actually what I wanted to do, so it was okay. Now, here's what structured reps are. They are predictable, they are small, they are intentional, and then they're debriefed. Not by you telling them what was wrong, but by you asking them, so how do you think you did? Teens are smart. They know what they need to work with and what they don't, at least for the most part. And you can also guide them in such a way to make them think they came up with that idea, you know? It's going to be a lot more effective then. 1 rep per day is greater than 1 big push per month. Every time you want to, who's going to win? A basketball or a sports game. You are playing against a team and they all practice together once a week. Your team is practicing every single day for 2 hours. What team do you think's going to win? I mean, come on. It's easy when you think of it in those terms. Now, not to throw any shame on you, but sometimes even well-intentioned parents, they can make it worse. We talk for them. We rescue them socially. We call them shy. We're naming the problem. We're pointing to it. We're giving that word shy power over what their outcome can actually be. And then we go, and I'm guilty of this too. Okay? Well, why didn't you say anything? You know, she was so interested in hearing from you. Well, that's because you didn't practice. That's because you didn't put in the reps. Parent, you didn't practice with them and put in the daily reps, you know, to help them have that base built up. So then that confidence, that mildly pressure time was up here. Instead of the mild pressure is like way down here. And that's me saying a word to anybody. You know, hey, Aaron, how you doing? Good. How's school going? Good. Sound familiar? Those are skills that we can work on. And I work on them every day with teens from actually around the world. Parents aren't wrong. You're just aiming at the wrong thing. That's all. Okay? What progress really looks like? Real progress looks like more attempts, more reps, faster recovery, slight initiative. All right, a slight push of that initiative, but only after 100 successful reps. You know, we're going to push it again. Confidence, however, is uneven. It's not linear. And awkwardness is actually a success because it means you tried something, it didn't feel totally comfortable. That's a win. You did it. Now you have that rep under your belt. Now you've got something to build on. You know, back to this point, confidence is uneven. It's not linear. I'm a big time weightlifter. I'm a personal trainer. I've also started running in the last 4 or 5 years. And every time I go out to run, I'm not always the best. I mean, even compared to my previous days. I mean, sometimes I'll have an exceptional day in the gym or out running, and I won't match that day for a month. you know, and I'm grinding all the time. I'm grinding all the time, obviously giving my body rest and letting myself recover. But this isn't a linear game, okay? It's uneven, it's messy, life is messy, it's repeated reps and repeated reps over and over and over again. This is the exact framework I use when I work with teens one-on-one. The exact framework. There's obviously a few more steps here, but this is basically it. You know, it's not to change who these teens are, but it's to help who they already are to show up. Right? That's what we want. We don't want to put on a fake personality. No, we want you, but we want you to show up. That's it. That's it. Okay. If this helped you, or you're thinking, hey, this is my kid, I can tell you without a doubt, you're not alone. Okay. I've always got more practical tools. You can subscribe here. You can subscribe on my Instagram account. Maybe I'm a little more focused there for now, but who knows when you're watching this? Maybe I'll have like a million YouTube subscribers. Who knows? I also, my feature program right now is the Confidence Lab. It's an 8 to 12 weeks, depending on which track you choose. And we put in the reps. This is all we do. You get homework, you get a parent guide, and the links below, you guys, I have a parent community that you can join that's really supportive, that I give free stuff to all the time. And so I appreciate you being here, and keep your eyes open because there's a lot more where this came from. Thanks, everybody.